Good afternoon. My name is Lorraine Shanley. I'm the president of Market Partners International, a consulting and recruiting company for the publishing industry. I've known Phil since, as he reminded me, before he moved to Ingram, where he's currently celebrating his 20th anniversary. This is Phil Ollila, in case there's any question about that. Over the years, we've discussed some of our Ingram distribution clients, potential Ingram clients, industry trends, even recruitment opportunities for Phil, though so far I've struck out. When I asked Phil how he got into the industry, he mentioned that after his time in the Army, he was in Ann Arbor working in a college bookstore and getting a master's degree in library science. Then he got to the dread cataloging courses and realized he just wasn't cut out to be a librarian. But I'm sorry to tell you that with this group. That weekend, he bought a copy of the Ann Arbor News and answered a classified ad to work in the purchasing department of Book Inventory Systems, a franchise services company for bookstores that was the precursor to Borders, where he remained for 12 years. When Borders began to have problems, Jim Chandler, who many of you know, who remembered Phil had invited him to lunch after Jim got thrown out of a Borders meeting, true story, hired him to start Ingram Publisher Services. The rest is, as they say, history. Phil is well known for his support of the industry, whether BISG, BINC, which many of you might know started out as Borders Incorporated and later was changed to Booksellers Incorporated, or struggling client publishers. He'll tell you that Ingram supports them, but I suspect that Phil's stewardship plays a significant role. As a colleague commented, Phil's network of publishers who see him and thus Ingram as a trusted partner is vast. In fact, it's Phil's own colleagues, I did a little snooping, who reflect best on his of the people approach. One told me, I loved working for Phil. He's one of the smartest people I've encountered in the business. I used to write down quotes from his addresses to his colleagues. A favorite was, people like to be engaged. They don't like to be managed. Another explained that razzle-dazzle and business speak isn't his style, and that there's a list of verboten words at Ingram that includes words that may be found in a business book title. We all know what they are: strategize, transformational, plus that millennial favorite exclamation marks. Besides his lack of pretension, everyone who knows him talks about his ability to think through complex problems and share their solutions with anybody who is willing to engage. His ability to listen, his curiosity, and of course, his sense of commitment to our industry. So I'm very honored to present with Phil with the Sally Dedecker Award for Lifetime Service. Do I have an award? No. I don't know. There it is. Oh, there you go.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Wait, you have to get a photo. Thank you. Well, thank you, Lorraine. I'm going to need a copy of that for my mom. Send it to my mom. She'll be thrilled. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be recognized by the BISG board, and I'm honored to be associated with the good work of Sally Dedecker, who I knew. It's nice to know that Sally's legacy and memory are supported through the Book Industry Study Group, and I am pleased to be associated with her and the BISG. Our beloved book industry is lucky to have bodies like the BISG to influence innovation and assist with standards, but most of all, serving to collect colleagues together to think about what comes next for this capable, ancient, and effective system of books that brings knowledge and entertainment to people. This role in this time is as important as ever. I used AI to determine how many words fit into remarks that last 4 minutes. And the answer is around 600 to 700. So I promise to be brief, and you can thank ChatGPT. I've been fortunate to work in the same industry for several decades, as Lorraine noted. Part of my good fortune has been to work in businesses that have allowed me to meet and become friends with the people who help the industry run. It's hard to express how grateful I am for those I've met along the way. My time at Ingram, as Lorraine mentioned, and before that Borders, has also permitted me to have a catbird seat of observations and a chance to see our business change and evolve over time. I'm grateful to see those I've worked with. I'm grateful to all those I've worked with, and want to mention Ingram's CEO, Sean Moran, and Chairman, John Ingram, who many of you know both of them. They've allowed me the license to try and lead whatever the success rate. Some wins, some failures, but hopefully for everyone with whom Ingram conducts business, their business is better through their relationships with Ingram. I'd also like to thank my Ingram colleagues, past and present, a lot of past in the room, for their hard work and support. Some of our folks have joined us here this afternoon, here at our table. Any success that I enjoy certainly comes from their good work. Years ago, I had a chance to leave the industry, as Lorraine noted, for a role at a meaningless and soon to be forgotten retailer, not in the book business. It would have been a short-term win for me and a long-term loss for me. My decision to remain in books was a function of the heft of my Rolodex, and I wrote in notes, "Okay, boomer," because who has a Rolodex? And I decided that I'd rather stay in the business in contact with people who at the end of the day were nice. Thank you to everyone I've had the privilege of knowing and working with in this industry. I'm here mostly because of you. Page 2, and we're halfway there. Some observations. For years, many of our industry challenges and disruptions were in channels of distribution. A memorial walk through the changes in the retail landscape from the 70s through today is as good of any example of the principle of creative destruction. Carriage trade stores, book clubs, chains, internet, etc. All have had their time or rebirth, and the demise of Borders is a good example and a good lesson to us all. More disruption for the channels of distribution is likely to come. Positively, we might note that today the potential for publishers to effectively distribute is as good as it has ever been, thanks in part to the standards influenced by the BISG. It's easier to show books as available to more readers worldwide than ever before. Humbly, some of the work at Ingram has assisted with this truth. It seems that publishers always find a way to thrive and survive, no matter the changes in the channels of distribution. We should all be grateful for this truth because the fuel of the industry is publishing. And without books to sell, nothing else matters. It feels like publishers will face difficult choices in the next decade about how books are developed and published, how they are marketed and distributed, and how they best serve authors. Issues of scale and what kinds of scale are best suited to the future will also be considered. I'm sure the BISG will consider how to assist with these weighty ideas. With 70 words to go, I want to again thank the BISG board, Brian O'Leary and Lorraine Shanley for their recognition and Lorraine's lovely introduction. I want to offer Ingram's full support to the BISG because someone must help us figure all of this out. Finally, I want to make it clear that even though this award is labeled lifetime, I plan on being around for some time to come. I hope to see you all soon, wherever we choose to gather, and thank you very much.
Hi, it's great to see you all. It's great to be back here. I am thrilled to be in front of you all because I am here because I have the honor of introducing the mighty, magnificent Walter Mosley. Now, you all know who Walter Mosley is, right? Right. You remember, if you're old enough, when then candidate Bill Clinton named him as his favorite novelist. And I know that you have all watched probably more than once Denzel Washington inhabiting the role of Easy Rollins in the movie Devil in a Blue Dress. That was Walter's first novel in 1980. In the 34 years since that first novel, Walter has written something like 60 books. Easy Rollins novels, Fearless Jones novels, Socrates Fortlow novels, Leonard McGill novels, standalone novels, science fiction, young adult novels, graphic novels, instructional nonfiction, political philosophy, and books that I can't even put a short enough description on because they're all coming out of his mind. He is one of our most ambitious, free-thinking, wide-ranging minds in our industry. I've always felt, reading anything he wrote, that Walter Mosley can get a character up off the page and into your head in fewer words than any writer alive. Walter introduced multiple Black heroes in his novels, which addressed, among innumerable topics and themes and ideas, issues of race and racism, implicitly and explicitly, and increased awareness among readers of life in Black communities. He brought Black characters and discussions of race and racial imbalance and injustice into popular discourse at a time when few writers did, laying the groundwork for the cultural reckoning book publishing has undertaken since the murder of George Floyd and the growth of Black Lives Matter. As Walter Mosley had his early books published and spent time among book publishing professionals, he looked around our community and rooms like this and couldn't not notice how white it was, that the lack of diversity was one of the salient and self-perpetuating characteristics of book publishing. And he understood how hard it was for Black writers to be read sympathetically and published well when so few of the people reading those manuscripts and launching those books had any experience that would help them evaluate the effectiveness of a narrative or the size and reachability of the possible audience. And being Walter, he thought, what can I do about this? In 1968, he came up with the idea of a publishing certificate program at its alma mater, City College, where students from all backgrounds could get training to help them get hired in the industry center just a couple miles south of them. He brought the idea to CCNY's president and personally funded the program's launch. CCNY just celebrated the 25th anniversary of the publishing certificate program, and they calculate that 50% of their graduates have worked in book publishing at least a year, and 30% have gone on to long-term careers in book publishing. 1998 is also the year when I had the pleasure of beginning to work with Walter as an editor and publisher. And I have to say that if you get the opportunity of working with Walter Mosley, take it. It was like working with no other writer I've ever known, because he's not just a writer, he's a philosopher, a teacher, and I can hear him saying so clearly again and again over the course of publishing many books together, but why? Trying to understand not just what was happening, what was expected of was a given in our industry at any moment, but what it really meant, who benefits, and who's left out. I traveled with Walter on a publicity tour early in our time working together, and I learned more from him about an author's experience of being published, and the work publishers take for granted that writers will do, and the difference between writing and publishing than I have from any writer I've ever known. And they're lessons that I've taken with me throughout my career to bring authors more and more and more into the center of our work. For being a person of integrity and of vision, for opening our industry's eyes to the racism embedded within it, and most of all, for working with us to find ways to change. I'm honored to present the BISG's Industry Champion Award to Walter Mosley.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Give me a hug. Yeah, thanks a lot. Hope it doesn't fall. Oh, hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. You know, it's so interesting. Like, I didn't know about the BISG and the affiliated organizations before this award, being told about it, and coming here, and that's very important because America, and a lot of people, I guess, in the world, even in Iran and Israel, are work on capitalism. It's a big part of everything, and working kind of outside of the center, working, with people of color, all colors, all backgrounds, all religions, all, genders. I began to understand that you were only going to be included if the government did business with the people who were going to hire you. Government didn't work with them. They didn't have to hire you. They hired their friends. Nobody ever criticized them. Not seriously. You couldn't take away their business. Certainly not a group of businesses like this. You can't take anything away from them. I was, on the board of the National Book Awards, and I was talking to one of the publishers one day, and she asked me, because I was complaining. I said, well, there's no people of color, no Black people, nobody hired. And she said, well, but, they leave, they can get jobs other places. I said, you got 20 people from Harvard, and they could go other places, right? How come they didn't leave? And she said, well, what do you think our problem is? And I made the mistake of telling her the truth. And I realized then that I can't do that. And so then that's when I went to, to start this organization. And I'm very happy with it. I've tried to start other things, with people. There's a group of, I don't know, it's like 500 of us now, the crime writers of color. I try to, to do that. And I'm really happy to have this award. I'm very grateful to Michael and, for the whole organization. I'd like to, the only thing I'd like to leave with you, is not a lot to say, is that all of you people, or most of you people, hire people. You bring people into a business that regulates and that supports publishing. I have the Publishing Institute. I like that place, but it's probably not the only place like that. I would love it if you would get in touch with them. If there's somebody you can hire, that's great, but I don't even care, because they're going to say things to you. They're going to say, well, listen, you work in this thing in publishing. We don't know anything about it. Come teach for us, for a semester or something. They might say, well, what can we do? How can we prepare people for what you're doing here? Because you people are on another planet from that place and from our knowledge and our understanding. And it would be great if we could come together, in any way that you want. If it's only just to say hi, that's something. So thank you very much for the award, and hope to see you up in Harlem.
So the Industry Innovator Award recognizes either an organization or in some cases an individual who boldly reimagines what publishing is and can be. As you might expect, innovation takes many forms. And over its 11-year history, BISG, not the BISG itself, but the 11-year history of this award, BISG has presented the award to startups like BitLit and Trajectory, as well as individuals like Dominique Ricca of Sourcebooks, Brooke Warner of She Writes Press, and Rachel Comerford, who's in the corner, of Macmillan Learning. More recently, we recognized bookshop.org, Wattpad, and Heterus. This year's honoree, Scribd, was founded in 2007. It's a digital native, and its early incarnation was that of a file sharing site. Scribd was an early success. By November of 2008, It had 4 million visitors in the US, 23 million worldwide. This tremendous growth attracted the attention of the publisher Simon & Schuster, which in 2009 formed a partnership with Scribd to figure out a way to monetize ebooks. Remember ebooks? Though not so long ago, it was also 2009, only 2 years after Amazon had launched the modern ebook era with the debut of the Kindle. In October of that year, Scribd launched a branded reader for media brands. It was an early attempt to try and find a way to create equity in the digital space. In that same era, Scribd began to work with the book industry to develop a subscription model that supported authors and publishers alike. This innovation was in part a response to issues raised when some users posted copyrighted material without authorization, and it led to the development of Book ID, which is an automated copyright protection system that safeguards intellectual property on Scribd.com and in the Scribd mobile app. So since those heady early days, Scribd has continued to add digital content to the platform, audio content, responding to market demand, as well as supporting accessibility. They've added comics content. They've acquired SlideShare. Yes, it's true, they own SlideShare. These are all signs of Scribd's commitment to innovation and growth. In 2019, TechCrunch reported that the company had crossed the $100 million barrier or hurdle for annual recurring revenue, and it claimed at that point that it had 1 million or more than 1 million paying subscribers. It continues to expand globally, and it's a vital part of a competitive field of digital platforms for published content. I think, if anything, BISG is overdue in recognizing Scribd for its contributions, as well as for its steadfast support of BISG. As a business focused on growth, Scribd recognizes the value of standards in fostering best practices because it wants to scale. Staff from Scribd, some of whom are here today, have been long-standing members of our committees, our working groups, and our board, consistently contributing their perspectives on the needs for things like consistent metadata, best practices for creating and distributing audiobooks, the value of identifiers like ISNI, the International Standard Name Identifier, and the fervent wish for, sorry, Phil, a works identifier. It'll come someday. They regularly participate in our work to make the industry work better, and we're better for it. Beyond this honor, I also want to say thanks, really, to Scribd for being part of the solutions to our industry's challenges. To accept the award, please join me today in welcoming Andrew Weinstein, Vice President of Content Acquisition and Content Strategy at Scribd, to the stage to accept this well-deserved honor.
All right. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, BISG, on behalf of everyone at Scribd. It's an honor to be recognized for the contributions to innovation in the publishing industry. This award is especially meaningful to us because we stand on the shoulders of the innovation BISG enables. Scribd celebrated its 17th birthday last month and the 10th anniversary of our premium subscription, now called Everand, last fall. I myself am approaching a personal milestone of 25 years in publishing, during which time I've been fortunate to see our industry from many perspectives. As a BISG board member, a two-time startup founder and entrepreneur, a strategist, and now a publishing leader in the technology space. The past few decades have been marked by immense change in our industry, from evolution to revolution. For businesses to survive today's climate and thrive in tomorrow's new realities, innovation is table stakes. What will drive real impact is innovation combined with relentless iteration and inspired collaboration. As such, Scribd's relationship with BISG has been a cornerstone of our growth. Through this ongoing collaboration, we've participated in BISG initiatives related to enhanced metadata for author identifiers and specific price types, audiobook metadata standards, and the beginnings of AI content disclosures, just to name a few.
Today, Scribd continues to toe the line between industry insider and disruptor outsider, building on our deep bench experience in publishing to reimagine how content is consumed. What began as a platform for uploading information has grown into 3 distinct products, thoughtfully and strategically positioned for the right markets. Scribd, our living library of more than 200 million documents across every topic and niche, shared by an engaged global community. SlideShare, our vast library of over 25 million presentations and counting from subject matter experts powering collective expertise. And Everand, a world of stories and knowledge with over 13 million ebooks, audiobooks, podcasts, magazines, and more, featuring an incredible selection of best-selling and iconic titles, diverse voices, and emerging talent. Across these products, we reach 230 million unique visitors per month who read over 190 million hours per month in 2023. We've grown to about 2 million paying subscribers and offer content in more than 20 languages. We meet readers where they are in their busy modern lives and use a data-driven approach to continuously gain a meaningful understanding of how and why they interact with our services. All so we can deliver more of what they enjoy, introduce them to new interests, and ultimately drive revenue for our partners. We are proud to have paid out hundreds of millions of dollars to publishers for digital reading and listening activity, mostly in just the past 5 years. Our mission at Scribd is to spark human curiosity. We believe that an informed and well-read public will build a more resilient, bold, and empathetic society. Our mandate has never been more clear, and we look forward to continued collaboration with BISG to ensure that our brightest days are yet ahead. Thank you again for this acknowledgement and this honor. Thank you.